All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It is Tuesday. It's about 7:16 in the morning. Datadog posted earnings is actually up some. So software companies are doing okay this morning. NASDAQ up to 25.4s right now. 25.4 has been pushing up all morning. You can see NVIDIA rising. NVIDIA's at 191s. Tech is moving up a little bit as well. AMD gapping up a little bit today as well. Gold, silver, both slightly red on the day here, but not a crazy amount of red or anything like that. We did have some earnings this morning. Specifically, we had Coca-Cola come out. I'll put the Coca-Cola numbers up in chat. There's Coca-Cola. We had Quest Diagnostics. I'll put those numbers up in chat as well. We had Ferrari come out with numbers. They posted 214s, expected 205s, revenue of 1.8 versus 1.7 billion expected. Hasbro came out with earnings. I'll put those numbers up in chat as well. Mostly retail and software companies this morning. CVS posted earnings. CVS posted 109. They expected 1. I'm putting all these numbers up in chat right now. Duke Energy posted numbers. Spotify was the other big one today. Spotify, BDPS, and revenue. Spotify BDPS by a pretty big number here. It posted $4.43 EPS versus $2.74 expected. Revenue of 4.5, but it missed revenue for Spotify. It's still gapping up pretty significantly here if you look at it. Spotify up to 460s. So maybe the software slump is over, is what a lot of people are talking about. Like maybe the software slump is over. We'll see. We'll see. Let me know if you guys think the software slump is over. But yeah, that's kind of the talk of the town. NASDAQ up again to 25.5s here. It is gapping up from where it was yesterday. So it is green on the day technically. And honestly, we got an array of different economic reports this morning. At 8:15 market time, we have the ADP weekly report for jobs. So we'll get another look at jobs. At 8:30, we have delayed import-export data, but it's still from December, so it's not like it's super delayed. And then we also get retail sales data, which is probably the biggest one today, is retail sales at 8:30. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now. If we look at TradingView Bitcoin price, Bitcoin down to 68,000 again. Again, here is Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin, again, struggling to hold, but it's not doing the, it's not crashing or anything. It's still over 60s, which is good. It hasn't broken those new lows yet. Excuse me. Yeah, Datadog. Yeah, well, most of these reports are already out. Quest is out, Ferrari is out, Hasbro is out, CVS is out. Spotify is the big one. It's out. Coca-Cola is out. And Coca-Cola, I'm in Coca-Cola, so I'm not really loving it, but it's down. Still, my average price in Coke here is 66. It fell down to 75. So, I mean, we're still pretty green in Coca-Cola, to be honest. And I'll probably just leave it here because it has dividends that it pays. So I'll probably just sit in this and leave it. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. That's my plan so far, is just to stay in Coca-Cola. Again, Spotify doing really well. Datadog doing really well. Although Spotify's starting to give back some of this gap here. Yeah, Teradyne has a lot of people talking. It's doing well. What's up, Mama Pond, Pew, Ty, Demetrius, Jose, Plasma, Robert, Jono, Pedro, Bill, E, Jonathan, Egan, Brian, Sergio, VA, Steve, Ava, Brains. What's up, guys? Good morning. Yeah, CVL says utilization is expected to persist at elevated levels in 26, although the level is difficult to accurately predict beyond current levels. It may pressure the healthcare benefits segment and healthcare delivery assets this year in 2026. So CVS is speaking right now. Greer is also speaking about the status of U.S.-China trade. He says it's stable. He says India could be stationed to shift supply chains around. This is U.S. Trade Representative Greer. He said, I expect more discussions ahead of the Trump China President April meeting. In the FBN interview, he said the status of U.S.-China trade relationships is stable. Starmer's speaking right now after he was getting pushes to step down yesterday. Labour wants Sarwar to become Scottish First Minister, he says. But Greer says India is very committed. He says he talked to India about oil from Venezuela. And he says India started winding down purchases of Russian energy. On USMCA, Greer says talks with Canada are more challenging. And Greer says on negotiations with Mexico right now, they'll continue bilaterally. So that's the news coming out this morning. Again, we got ADP data coming out later. So we got ADP data. I'll put a timer up. Get one rolling here. I'll put a poll up as well. List while I'm getting this timer up, list some good options for the poll. What are some good options for the poll today? I mean, the easy guy in me just wants to say, hey, are you bullish or bearish for today's economic reports? We have what? We have 52 and a half minutes. Yeah, so we got ADP jobs. Yeah, we got ADP jobs today. And then we have retail sales coming out a little bit later as well. At 8:30. Again, ADP jobs. If I can fix my... There we go. Morning, everybody. What's up, Big Slump? Yeah, Bitcoin's been sitting around 68,000. Really, the last 24 hours it's been there. Is it expected to be good or bad for jobs? I really don't know. Nasdaq's still pushing, though. Here, look at Nasdaq. Again, last week we got really bad numbers for jobs. So basically, all the jobs were weak last week. Every job report we got last week was bad for jobs. None of them were good. And this includes challenger job cuts hitting the highest January level since 2009. This includes jobless claims spiking up, I believe, to 31,000 or 200. Was it? Hold on. Jobless. Yeah, the last jobless claims report, 231,000 initial claims. They expected 212, so that spiked up versus previously and versus expected numbers. Last week, we also had ADP monthly report, which I believe showed 22,000 jobs only versus 40-something or 50-something thousand expected. And then we also had quits increase to over 3 million. Just a lot of bad jobs data last week. And so this is the first kind of, this is not really the biggest report in terms of ADP data, but it's the first look we're going to get at jobs since last week, right? And look at Datadog. Again, software companies popping back up a little bit. Greer on Trade says he expects Indonesia to be the next big one, according to FBN. Morgan Stanley also holds Tesla at equal weight and sees solar upside. They reiterated their equal weight rating and 415 price target on Tesla, citing plans to add 100 gigawatts of solar manufacturing capacity. The firm estimates Tesla Solar could add 20 to 50 billion in equity value to its energy business. While not transformative on its own, the investment could unlock long-term growth and reduce energy bottlenecks, supporting Tesla's broader ambitions, according to Morgan Stanley. But yeah, gold right around 50-70s here, still slightly red on the day. Silver, same thing, 81.70, slightly red on the day for gold and silver. Bernstein also raised Apple's price target to 340. Even though Apple's pretty red on the day, Bernstein raised Apple's price target to 340. They raised its price target from 325, maintaining an outperform rating, citing strong Apple 17 cycle and better than expected revenue and profits. Memory prices are still expected to lift costs and slightly pressure margins later this year, though they believe Apple will largely offset this through price increases. Maybe a more expensive iPhone coming soon. Greer says India could be stationed to shift supply chains around. He also reiterated U.S. has regular talks with China counterparts. What's up, D Sharp? What's up, Hugh? Yeah, jobs are weak, man. Jobs are weak. We'll see what today's report shows. Again, we have ADP data going live in like 45 minutes or so. Again, last time ADP weekly numbers showed up at 7.75 thousand, but last week we did get the monthly reported showed up weak as well. And then today, again, we have December's retail sales data. It's expected at about 0.4%. Core retail sales expected at 0.3%. And then tomorrow we have payrolls, non-farm payrolls, unemployment. So more jobs tomorrow as well. It's been a pretty good day for trading all around for me. I've been pretty green mostly in markets. So we'll see if we can hold that. But yeah, there's the NASDAQ 25 4s. Yeah, Nvidia's up as well. Nvidia's been pushing. You know, this comes after a potential XAI Anthropic deal. I think, was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Anthropic. I'll have to go back and check. But another deal that would supply them with Nvidia microchips, right? So Nvidia's been pushing up since yesterday on that news. It was Anthropic, right? Chat, anybody that was paying attention yesterday, I'm pretty sure it was. Let me look this. Nvidia pushed up. Yeah, I'll have to look this up. I know XAI did a deal with... I have to go back. I want to make sure I get it right, though. Hold on, give me a second. But what that's the deal that I'm talking about is what's pushing up microchips. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Alphabet's bond issuance as well. So Alphabet issuing bonds. Yeah, Nvidia has made a couple deals recently. A lot of people were worried, but I don't know. Nvidia should be the big winner regardless of all this stuff. So, XAI deal. Yes, I know SpaceX and XAI merged. BRDO, NQ popping. Yeah, NASDAQ continues to break highs, and this is, again, mostly driven by NVIDIA specifically here if you look at it. So, again, NVIDIA popping up. NASDAQ moving higher as well. Okay, I'm sorry. It was Apollo nearing a $3 billion chip funding deal tied to XAI is what it is. It's not Anthropic. It's Apollo. Apollo nearing $3 billion chip funding deal tied to XAI, according to the information. This dropped yesterday. Broadcom as well. The chip stocks have been going up. Yeah, the dollar has been weakening in recent trade. Still, destructive commentary from U.S. Trade Rep Greer. Here's the dollar, but yeah, the NASDAQ's been helping drive, or Nvidia's been helping drive the NASDAQ up. Dollar's under 97s, dollar index. Again, we did have a bunch of earnings today. Software companies looking a little bit better. Datadog, Spotify, all pretty green from their earnings report. Coca-Cola's red. And AMD's up to 218s. Make it a break it day for Bitcoin. Yeah. Oracle also provides OpenAI with servers. Yeah, I'm in Oracle as well. It's been making a rebound too. It's back up to 160s. It's been volatile though. It really has. So Oracle has been pretty volatile. It's gonna be the biggest rug pull in history. Yeah. Taiwan Semiconductors made a lot of money last month selling chips. Pretty good outlook for AI. Yeah, TSM. They're up pretty big today as well, up to 365s. So they've had a nice little bounce back over the last 3 or 4 days with everything else. So yeah, so it's interesting. Again, Trade Representative Greer still speaking. He said there are other tools who want continuity. What did we buy yesterday? We bought Robinhood, and it's green from yesterday for sure. What else did we buy? We're in Oracle, we're green. We're in PayPal, that's green today. SoFi is green. Target's green. Disney's green. Hims is red. I don't know what to do with Hims. Hims is such a small position though. Still in Netflix. Yeah, I didn't end up buying Hims yesterday. Yeah. Unity, what's a good stock to buy right now? Unity, yeah, I see it's up to 2860s. Software is getting a little bit of a rebound here. Again, here's Unity. This isn't earn. I mean, it. Hold on, let me make. When did Unity report earnings? Is this just sympathy from software? And then this afternoon we do have Robinhood. Okay, Unity drops earnings on Wednesday, tomorrow. So I think Unity's just following software companies' sentiment. Here's Datadog up, Spotify up, Unity up. So, and again, Nvidia helping drive the Nasdaq higher here. Nvidia up to 192s. Honestly, Nvidia's getting kind of close to 200s again. I'm curious to see if Nvidia is going to make that push towards 200s. But we'll see. And again, we do have economic reports coming out today, so we got some stuff going on today, which is good. AMD. I wouldn't touch Hims. Microsoft cheaper than IBM. I mean, we still trade there. Serpent guy, we still trade there. I can't really talk about it as contract stuff, but you know. But I'll explain more in like a week, probably. Nvidia pulling back. It's at 192s right now. So Nvidia dipping, and you can kind of see how much it's following the Nasdaq here. Here's Nvidia dip, and then here's the Nasdaq dip. CrowdStrike. I think CrowdStrike, another software company. You know, it's been pretty volatile as well. This thing was at almost $500 for CrowdStrike if you look at it. It's at 409s now. Look at the Nasdaq dip fast though. Nvidia. I almost want to buy this dip on the NQ though. We'll see. Yeah, well, Hims is getting hit because Novo is basically coming after them, suing them for selling what they consider knockoff weight loss drugs or something like that. It's something like that for Hims. I don't know if it's valid, but we'll see. The big question is, does Hims have the money to fight Novo? Even if it's not valid, right? Does Hims have enough money to fight them? Is the real question. And I don't know. I think Novo's obviously the bigger bank, beats smaller bank Hims. So, yeah, I don't know. But I think that's what it is yesterday. That's what it is yesterday. And again, maybe Hims is a good buy. Let me see if I want to buy this dip. Hold on. Here's my... Look at this drop. So we dropped even more on the NQ. Do that, or I just got a really bad feel just now. Yeah, I'm in this. I'm down 50 bucks or so. I want to see if it bounces here, but it's a quick drop all of a sudden. See if we rebound. Again, retail sales data is probably the biggest thing today. Although ADP data might move markets, I'm not really sure. All right, I'm gonna have to cut this. We're out. It's just too big of a drop all of a sudden here. I'm trying to see if there's any catalyst to drive the NASDAQ down like this. I'm pretty sure it's just NVIDIA's turning. Like, look at NVIDIA turn and look at the NASDAQ go. Look at this drop in the NASDAQ all of a sudden. That's a quick drop. Wow. Again, it looks like it's just NVIDIA. I'll try to buy this up, even though we just lost a little bit of money. There we go. A drop. Here's the 200 EMA at 370s, though. Again, NVIDIA pulling back fast. Made a little bit of money on that bounce trade, but man, nasty drop all of a sudden. There we go. We made most of the money back. This little bounce here, but it held. That's like my catchphrase. I'm gonna trademark that. Taiwan Semiconductors, Palantir, AMD. Yeah, TSM coming down. AMD not really dipping that much. Palantir back up to 145. Much volatility. Salesforce. I'm sure Salesforce is up. Or did Salesforce have earnings? Or is it just really, really, really weak for Salesforce? Palantir's a great buy here. Also on the closed door crypto meeting. I don't know, man. I think Bitcoin needs some good sentiment showing up right now. Bitcoin's kind of scary. I mean, if you go through cycles, it's not the scariest thing, but you got to understand, like, a lot of people are in crypto. It's a newer market. And so people are nervous. It's a newer market to them is what I meant to say. But a lot of people are still nervous here. $400 pullback? Honestly, wait, where's the 400? The 400 dip kind of looked good. There wasn't a lot of meat on the move, but I do like those type of pullbacks. But this is a big dip, you know. This is the dip that keeps on dipping. In the NASDAQ. But I get your buy there, Pawn. I tried to buy it too and lost. So I made it back on this little bounce right here, but still. Trying to liquidate Sailor. Good morning. What's the news today? The news today is we got retail sales data 8:30. Look at this drop. Whoa. Here's the 200 EMA though. So I actually normally buy up this pullback here, but this is a big drop. Hold on. Let me see. I will try to buy this, although I'm not really happy about it. Kind of a big red candle here. Yikes. Yeah, I gotta cut this. This is some type of catalyst. What a drop all of a sudden, man. Let me see if there's news. There's got to be some type of breaking news here. Bank of America warns of bubble-like price action in materials and commodities. Nvidia here, right? Nvidia hasn't given it back that much. The Nasdaq's falling here. I see Bank of America warning of bubble-like price action, materials and commodities. They said materials on the list showing bubble-like behavior alongside gold, silver, U.S. equities, and mega cap tech remain stable though. So this isn't what's driving the market down. I don't know why the market's dropping like this. It's strange. You should have held Mama Pawn for sure. You were right. We were wrong. Here. What a drop on the Nasdaq though. Yeah, I don't know what. Like I gotta go put on some of my older songs because I don't know what these songs are. They're just kind of showing up. But man, look at this drop. Yeah, SanDisk, man. That was SanDisk has been a memory company. But they are volatile right now. You can kind of see the last. They're up so much for memory prices, though. You know. But yeah, look at SanDisk, 577s. This thing was up to after earnings. This thing got up to 725s right here. Look at 725s. It's now down at 577s here. So SanDisk is trying, but you know, not doing it well. Put it that way. Trying to still check on breaking news here. I don't really see anything that would cause these big pullbacks in the Nasdaq here. It could just be retracing the 200 EMA, kind of like it did earlier this morning. The market might be waiting for economic data as well. Like maybe the market's waiting for retail sales. I'm not sure. I think market's probably more so waiting for tomorrow's reports versus the retail sales and maybe the ADP data today. We do have ADP data today, but I'm pretty sure the market's more so just waiting for non-farm payrolls and unemployment tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting report. So tomorrow, non-farm payrolls expected at 66,000. 66,000. Previously, there were 50K. Unemployment expected at 4.4. It's the same as last time. And we also have our average hourly earnings, 0.3% expected. Last time was 0.3% as well. And then CPI Thursday, jobless claims, or CPI Friday, jobless claims Thursday. CPI expected at 2.5% year over year for headline CPI inflation. On the month, it's expected at 0.3% for both core and headline. Core year over year is expected at, that even, last time was 2.6. So that's this week. And I think maybe we'll get a muted market leading into that stuff. It's hard to tell though. Let me catch up on the chat. Waiting for a catalyst before I flip bullish on crypto. Midterms might slaughter the market. Yeah, Nasdaq's still falling here though. Look at the Nasdaq. Here's the previous closing price. Look at these candles, man. These are strange candles. No news. Odd. Again, a lot of people can blame microchips pulling back, but they're not down that much. I mean, they are continuing to dip here though, so. And here's Nvidia on the left. Here's the Nasdaq on the right. Nasdaq testing that previous closing price level. Yeah, there's a poly market for another shutdown, but it's only the DHS, meaning it doesn't affect, you know, it doesn't affect economic reports or finance. So I'm celebrating that. You know, that we're not gonna have a shutdown at least for what, like 6 months plus now. I think they got a deal done until September. So, all right, guys. Again, Nasdaq still falling. Nvidia giving back some of these gains it made. Nasdaq is still up from where it was yesterday. Bitcoin falling as well here. Bitcoin at 68,430s right now. So 68,430, still sitting at 68,000 for Bitcoin. Again, Nasdaq still tumbling down a little bit. Is Greer? Greer's not speaking anymore that I see here. Greer spoke earlier, basically talked about deals and stuff with other countries, but Greer's not speaking anymore. And again, we got about 30 minutes left until the ADP report. ADP jobs data coming out live today. We'll see what that looks like. Yeah, so again, we do have a jobs report dropping at 8:15 market time, 8:15. Nasdaq's trying to find some base here, though. Let's see if it holds. Yeah, we also have retail sales data today. Yeah, so again, we got U.S. retail sales data. We'll see what that looks like, though. Nasdaq trying to find support right at the previous close. I love watching this previous closing price level. Usually I look for a 200 exponential bounce, and we just didn't get one. But Bitcoin's starting to rise. NVIDIA found, here's some support in NVIDIA. NVIDIA is right around the VWAP, the 200 exponential right here. The purple line is the VWAP on NVIDIA. The yellow line is the 200 exponential here. So these both lines are right around the same spot. Maybe NVIDIA is going to pull back to this and then rebound back up. I think that's reasonable to think about. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's reasonable to think about. So we'll see. And maybe that'll drive the NASDAQ back up, because I think the NASDAQ is following microchips, really. Yeah, we do have some type of jobs report today at 8:15. Right, NVIDIA's starting to pop up a little here. Apple of it may squeeze those non-believers. Heather just bought a shutting down physical gold rumor. I saw that. Gold tanking? Gold going down? Gold is tanking here. Look at gold. 50-40s right now. So gold and silver. Or is it just gold? Silver's down a little bit, but gold about a 50-50 basically right now. See, Alphabet saying we welcome the opportunity to resolve CMA's concerns. I'm looking at other breaking news here, but software has rebounded today on earnings. Again, software companies, Datadog, Spotify, all up from their earnings reports. Coca-Cola's down a little bit. Again, Alphabet down slightly on the day. AMD green, Apple red. So kind of split and mixed pre-market this morning. Again, in 25 minutes, we do have the ADP jobs report. 15 minutes after that, we have the retail sales report. By Roblox. Roblox has bounced up from where it was. And it is in a big pullback here. The thing though, like I have seen worse sentiment regarding Roblox recently. So Roblox has had some bad press lately. I don't know if that bad press is going to continue. You know what? Target did me really well here. Our average price in Target is $86. That 1/16. But percentage wise, Target's easy buy sometimes, man. I've made so much money on Target buying it when it gets below 100 and then holding it. You just got to be patient with it. It pays a divvy too, almost 4% yearly divvy. So I'll probably just sit in it. I have children. I have kids. No, so yeah, I see the Roblox press. Burry sees head and shoulders on Palantir. That would mean significant downside. Yeah, but Burry thinks a lot of stuff's showing significant downside. And again, I'm not saying he's wrong. The problem with Burry is that he overpredicts it. And I need a variety in opinions from somebody before I really trust what they say. If they're only bearish all the time, it makes it hard to believe what they say, because at a certain point, you know, it's hard to figure out if he's just being bearish again or if what he's saying is accurate. You know, and I'm not saying he's wrong. Just the problem is that he's over predicting bearish action usually. And I think most people would agree with this. Even if you like Burry, most people are going to agree it's almost universally bearish. And the market just doesn't behave like that. Most of the time the market's going up. And so is Burry correct? Put yes or no in chat right now. Oh, I haven't done a poll yet. Let me do a poll. Is Michael Burry correct about risks to markets right now? Yes or no? That's a great question. Is Michael Burry correct about risks to markets right now? Vote on the poll. So far, no's are winning here, but the poll just started. And we'll see. Again, Nvidia is up today. Nasdaq's slightly red technically now, so Nasdaq has fallen to be slightly red. Slightly red. What's up, Treff? No, the market is bullish most of the time. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Again, I've consistently said the longer you hold bearish positions, the less likely you are to make money in markets. The longer you hold bullish positions, the more likely you are to make money, because time heals a lot of wounds in the stock market. You know? Meaning something might be really overvalued in one moment, and then 10 years later it might be super undervalued. You know, so time heals a lot of wounds. The longer you hold blue chips and you know, indices, indexes, whatever you want to call it, the more likely you are to make money in it. Especially when we're talking decades. Generally speaking, you know, you can probably find some outliers that don't do so well over long periods of time, but most of the time, indexes, assets that are good will go up. They all have something to predict every 2 to 3 months. They're wrong 90% of the time. Yeah, no, 100%. And the problem, like I see, is like people predict crashes 5 years ago. I've had people that have predict crashes literally every day for 5 years, and now that the market corrects a little bit, they're like, aha, see, they try to show up and act like they somehow are like a market, you know, wisdom guru. And it's like, well, no, you keep throwing a dart at a dartboard, eventually you're going to hit it, you know? Like, eventually we're going to crash. As Thanos said, it's an inevitability. Eventually we are going to crash. But long term, we're still going up, you know? And a lot of people talk crashes. And again, the example I always show people is like, if we do this, you know? Let me give you a better example. So if you call a crash right here, and then try to celebrate when we do this move down here, you're still wrong. Like, we're still way above where you originally called the crash at. And so you're still wrong. And I think you have to look at markets like that. Time heals a lot of wounds, you know. Prices go up over time, unfortunately. Yeah, I got you here. Let me pull it up. All right, guys, we're getting close to the ADP data in about 20 minutes here. 20 minutes. Yeah, got you. Okay, appreciate it, Pawn. Thank you, sir. Yeah, earnings came out. Again, earnings are okay today. Again, NVIDIA pulling back a little bit. NASDAQ finding some support at the VWAP here. Again, Datadog, software slump. A lot of people are questioning if it's over now. Software did pretty good for earnings. DDOG, Datadog up. Spotify up pretty big. We see some software names, you know, rebounding here. A lot of sympathy in software names as well. What drops tomorrow for earnings? Unity, right? Unity's reacting well to this earnings season, this earnings day as well. Unity's gapping up a little bit as well. So we see some software names doing better than they were. You know, last week a lot of fears have been there in software, essentially that AI is essentially going to eat software companies' margins. And but this earnings season, software companies did well. So we'll see which story wins here. But S&P Global did post earnings and they're down. I feel like the market is at the point where lots of companies can't justify their debt and don't make enough money. At the same time, lenders keep finding ways to lend, and not good when quantitative tightening hits. Yeah, when it hits, maybe. When do you think we're going to get QT, though? I don't think we're going to get it for a while here. Not unless we start to see, like, super big inflation spikes, right? We start to get super big inflation spikes, and the Fed, you know, starts to tighten. You know, obviously, then we might see quantitative tightening. But which is just the QT is the Fed reducing their balance sheet over time. They're not selling bonds, which is what's in their balance sheet is bonds and other assets. They're not directly selling them, but they're letting them mature and they're not buying more. Is what quantitative is called, passive quantitative tightening. But I don't know when we're gonna do that, if and when we're gonna do it this year. Again, we'd have to see some swings in the inflation data on the upside. We'd have to see strong labor and swings to upside inflation, you know, and I don't know if we're going to get that this year. Maybe we do. I don't know. It's possible for sure. It's not guaranteed though. So. This also affects Bitcoin. Bitcoin generally wants easing, right? So if we look at Bitcoin, I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but if you're talking about AI is still really early for it to start cracking Bitcoin in that same way that people assume it's going to crack software. If we're talking about quantitative tightening, that might negatively impact Bitcoin. Bitcoin generally wants easing. It wants low interest rates. It wants printing money through quantitative easing. And that's a more plausible scenario in which it negatively affects Bitcoin if we start seeing high inflation and less easing and more restriction from the Federal Reserve. That's a situation where it might push Bitcoin down a little bit if we get something like that. But again, it's not guaranteed. I mean, Bitcoin is falling, though. It's under 68.5. NASDAQ broke under the VWAP here. It's now technically red on the day. We've seen a swing on the NASDAQ over the past hour or so here. New guy in the Fed is hawkish. He has historically been hawkish. That's why markets reacted negatively to his nomination. It doesn't mean he's going to be hawkish with us, though. I honestly, I don't necessarily disagree with Warsh's history. Warsh has been very critical of quantitative easing and money printing because he says that causes inflation. And he's right. That causes inflation much more than just basic rate cuts. And so I'm not even disagreeing with that. So I think one of the things we might see Warsh do is he might be more willing to push for rate cuts, less willing to push for quantitative easing. And quantitative easing is a form of money printing where if QT, like I said earlier, is just reducing the Fed's balance sheet. Quantitative easing is asset buying through money printing. They create online money, fake money, or not fake money. They create online money. They print online money basically, and then they use that to buy up bonds and assets and expand the FOMC's or the Fed's balance sheet. Not the FOMC, the Fed's balance sheet. And you know, this causes inflation, and so it's a more desperate thing to bring interest rates down faster. You see it in like 2020, 2008, and beyond that. There's been a couple times that they've done it, but it's a more desperate thing that the Fed does. The consequence though is inflation. Like 2020, we did this. Brought rates to zero, printed, did QE, and inflation within a few years spiked up really, really high. And again, I've said this 1,000 times, that's the inflation we're still dealing with today. That's the reason most people are like, oh, inflation's bad right now. It's not really, the rate at which prices are increasing right now isn't bad, but they've gone up a lot in 6 years, 5 years. So again, do you guys like Warsh? Do you think Warsh is going to be a good FOMC chairman? Also, JP Morgan, talking about software, says AI fears are overdone in software. AI fears are overdone in software. They say the sell-off in software stocks is overblown, driven by unrealistic fears of near-term AI disruption. Strategists recommend rotating back into high-quality AI-resilient names. They cite strong fundamentals, high switching costs, and positive earning trends, naming Microsoft and CrowdStrike as beneficiaries. With 2026 earnings growth forecast near 17%, they see a rebound opportunity in software. Again, this is JP Morgan. We also had news that Evogene announces an expanded pack with Google Cloud. Here's Google. It's down on the day. How's CrowdStrike doing? And CrowdStrike is just big pullbacks here, man. Since October, this thing's down huge percentages. We'll see if we get a dip buy. Warsh is the next FOMC chairman. President said he wouldn't have picked Warsh if he wasn't going to raise rates. If he was going to raise rates. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to raise. I think he's going to be reluctant to print, but he's going to be more willing to cut. I think today at the opening bell, we see the same crash as 1923. I feel like people just say stuff, bro. You know how bad 1923 was, dude? Come on now. Be smart, bro. Watch us actually crash like 1923 at the opening bell. I will eat my words and make fun of myself. But I think you're wrong, dude. I don't think we're getting that today. Maybe, you know, if it wouldn't be today. It'd probably be tomorrow, you know, or Friday. It's not going to be today. Yeah, it probably was a rage bait. Maybe I fell for it. You know, that's all right. It's something to laugh at, that's for sure. Again, look at gold, though. Gold did have a pullback. Again, NVIDIA's been driving the market down a little bit, but NVIDIA may be starting to bounce, but NVIDIA, 190 still for NVIDIA. Even if it pulls back, NVIDIA over 190s is good for it. All right, guys. Hey, we got 10 minutes left until ADP jobs. 10 minutes. Every day they think it's going to crash. Yeah. And again, the problem is that they keep saying it, and then eventually when we do crash, they're like, see, I told you so. It's like, yeah, you did every day for 5 years, you know. Eventually you're going to be right. Everybody's right eventually if they predict crashes. But again, we got the ADP weekly jobs report dropping in 9 minutes here, chat. 9 minutes. So NASDAQ is falling down ahead of these reports today. Again, we also have retail sales at 8:30. So retail sales is at 8:30. Delayed import-export data is also at 8:30. So the strategy, MicroStrategy CEO says Bitcoin volatility is both a bug and feature on CNBC. Again, both a bug and feature. Only one can hope. Who wants it to crash? Bank of America CEO says interest rates are going to continue to come down, and you know that's very constructive. Again, interest rates are going to continue to come down, and you know that's very constructive, he says. All right, look at NVIDIA still, guys. Under 191s for a split second right now. NASDAQ is following it here ahead of the jobs data. So again, NASDAQ, NVIDIA is still falling. We got about 8 minutes. The live opening bell from 2008 crashed this morning. First minute was a 100-point drop and people were freaking out. Now that can be a random candle. 100%, man. Volatility. I'll take out a mortgage. Buy more. What did Bear Stearns say? In the middle of it or something like that. He's like, I might buy more. He might not have been wrong long term, but short term, he's definitely wrong, considering his fund closed right after that. All right, guys. Hey, we have 6 minutes left. 7 minutes left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. The data's about to come out. Yeah, gold and silver pulling back a little bit. Again, NVIDIA still pretty green on the day, but it is starting to give some of it back. It's right around 190 is the previous close for NVIDIA. It's at 191s now, but it was at 192 plus earlier this morning. We've seen a very large pullback in markets. A very large pullback. AI is a scapegoat for shredding jobs. Yeah, I mean, maybe. What's our dollar battle? Dollar's down under 97s, but it's sideways so far this morning. Look at SanDisk as well, guys. So here's NVIDIA falling down, and look at SNDK, 568s. So we are seeing some corrections in some of these big names that have run up over the last few days. Metals down, crypto down. Yeah. Yeah, well, Bitcoin definitely down over the last couple months here. It's trying to hold here, though. Here's Bitcoin. It's at 68.5s right now, 68.5s. You mean on Bitcoin? What do you mean very large pullback and barely moved? Are you talking about me saying Bitcoin's pulled back very large over the last couple months? Of course it has. Again, SanDisk down a big percentage. NASDAQ down. Went from pretty green on the day to pretty red. It's all relative though, but NASDAQ's still falling. Video almost down to 190s. Most of the IT and accounting. I mean, the NASDAQ pullback is relative. If we're looking at day trading the NASDAQ, this is a longer term intraday pullback here. Is it the craziest pullback ever? No. But shh. You know. Goldman Sachs CEO Solomon says they have pretty good tailwind around M&A and capital market activity in the conference call. Again, the Bank of America CEO Moynihan said that interest rates are going to continue to come down. That is constructive. Again, NASDAQ broke under 25,300s for a split second here. Let's see if this holds. We have 3.5 minutes before the ADP data goes live. Again, 3.5 minutes before the ADP jobs data. I don't know how much that's going to affect markets. Retail sales at 8:30 might affect it more. So remember, we have ADP data at 8:15 and then retail sales data at 8:30. We'll see what we get. Nasdaq's starting to fall here, though. Starting to fall. Nasdaq's getting pretty close to the low of the day here. Low of the day is right around 291. So we're getting pretty close to that ahead of this jobs report. Still falling down some. All right, here we go. We have 3 minutes left, chat. Again, ADP jobs data, 8:15. We got 2.5 minutes until this drops. Last time this ADP weekly report showed up at 7.7 thousand average jobs per week, 7.75K. We did have last week's monthly report by ADP. It showed, what was it last week? It showed weaker than expected numbers for sure. I think it showed up at 22,000 if I remember correctly, 22K. Weekly jobs, 2 minutes left, chat, 2 minutes. I'm gonna put it in sub-only mode, so if you're subscribed, show your support. We appreciate it. We have 2 minutes left, chat. 2 minutes. It's a bear trap. Again, we got ADP jobs data going live in about a minute and a half, chat. Nasdaq bounced right here. I don't know why I have this level. Oh, wait, I just drew this level, actually. This is the low of the day. So the Nasdaq did just bounce at the low of the day right here. So we did just pop right there at the low. Again, NVIDIA pulling back. We're at 191s. I think I was slightly off in my timer here, actually. My timer's a little bit late, it looks like, today. We actually have 1 minute left. 1 minute. So less than a minute now. Is this a bear trap? Put yes or no. Again, we have 40 seconds left. I don't know what this data is going to do to market, so I really don't. I'm going to put gold up. Gold's starting to rebound back up as well. It's at 50, 60s. Right now for gold. Again, here's the Nasdaq on the right. Data is going to go live very soon. Again, last one was 7.75. 7.75. We'll see if they're on time with this. Sometimes they're delayed, but again, we have about 10 seconds left. All right, here's the data, about 5 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. Again, retail sales data after this, but here's the report right now. Let's see if it moves markets at all. Still waiting on this. They might be a little delayed. Again, waiting for the ADP data to show up. Yeah, this one they're always a little bit delayed. This one's a little bit harder to find. See, the weekly report showed 22K. See the NER pulse. See, that one's delayed too. Still waiting on the ADP data. I don't see it here yet. Yeah, they're always late with this one. I'm not sure why. Yeah, again, I don't see. They're always a little delayed with this one. I don't see it published yet. Nothing yet on anything. Weird. Still waiting for it. 6.5 thousand. Yeah, 6.5 versus 7.75 previously. So, a little bit weaker, but not incredibly weak here. And again, this is ahead of retail sales data coming live at 8:30. The bigger report's probably going to be the retail sales data at 8:30. But 6.65 or 6.5 is what showed up versus 7.75 previously. I'll put this data up on screen so you can see it, but they're always a little delayed with this one. I don't know why. They usually publish it like 2 minutes late, which is weird, you know. But yeah, there's the report right there. The bigger report is ADP, or the bigger report is retail sales data at 8:30. This hasn't really moved things. It popped gold up a little bit. NASDAQ is starting to bounce back though. But yeah, 6.5 versus 7.75 previously. MicroStrategy says concern that strategy will be selling is unfounded according to Saylor. Yeah, I mean, ADP recently started doing this report too, so they're probably just catching up. Like, they only started doing this weekly report during the last government shutdown, so this past November. And so they're a little delayed. They don't really put it out on time. I don't think their servers can handle the traffic that they get from it either. Like, when you look at their website here for ADP, I just don't think their servers can handle the traffic most of the time. Like, if you try to click on the reports, you get a gateway timeout. So, like, you're not really able to, you know, see it, to be honest. Unfortunately. So you get a gateway timeout. But I don't think their servers can handle it. That's what I think it is. Taylor's an interesting investor. Yeah, and again, we have retail sales data at 11 minutes, chat. 11 minutes. Let me put this up, actually, so you can see it. But the bigger report today, retail sales at 8:30. This is the larger report, and we have about 10 minutes left. No, the ADP report, weekly report, doesn't really move things. The retail sales should move it a little bit, but again, it's been in a market of high volatility lately. So, we'll see. Again, retail sales. Again, retail sales, 8:30, what this is. Again, retail sales expected today at 0.3%. 0.3% for core retail sales. Base retail sales expected at 0.4%. We also have delayed import-export price data. This is from December. So we get delayed import-export price data and retail sales. Again, it's expected at 0.3% for core and 0.4% for headline retail sales. And then tomorrow we get the actual non-farm payroll unemployment report. That will definitely move things. Friday we get CPI inflation. That will definitely move things as well. So. Saylor's holding forever. Michael Saylor's about to pull the buy low, buy high, sell low strategy. He's been on that strategy lately, bro. You know. NASDAQ's starting to head up though. Again, the weekly jobs numbers were lower than last time, but they weren't crazy low. I mean, crazy, your definition of crazies might be different, but basically what we were last time. We just need to see retail go negative. Anything looks good for a buy right now. I'm negative on the day, mostly from Coca-Cola. Meta subsidiary is losing an appeal against Deutsche Telekom over network services. Again, we did see some AI stocks and NVIDIA stocks start to run just because Apollo XAI nearing a $3.4 billion deal to fund AI chips with NVIDIA AI chips and lease them to XAI. So that news came out yesterday. We've seen microchips run back up a little bit. Again, we've seen software companies do a little bit better today as well. Datadog, Spotify. Let's see if it continues. We have 8 minutes left. Yesterday's run in gold and silver took a short in it last night. CPI is actually expected to be low. CPI is expected at 2.5% on Friday. 2.5%. So CPI is expected to be low. Lower than... low is relative, but they expect it to be 2.5, which is lower than it was previously. I think previously it was 2.7. And you could argue maybe things are getting skewed year over year because of the shutdown or something like that. I can't really say you're wrong, but we'll see. Yeah, CPI expected Friday at 2.5 on the year and 0.3% on the month. So. Again, Mike Saylor saying we will be buying Bitcoin every quarter. Again, we will be buying Bitcoin every quarter. Again, you can kind of see this graph here from the jobs data. If we look at this. So 4 weeks ending January 24, private employees added a 6,500 jobs average, step up hiring from the previous week. These numbers are preliminary and could change as new data is added. NER Pulse reflects our January benchmark to March 25 QCEW data. These numbers are prelim and could change as new data is added. You can see just since November here, the jobs we're at almost 20,000 average have fallen, where they are now at about 6,500. And again, we do have retail sales data. 6 minutes, chat. 6 minutes for retail sales data. What can we expect on gold and silver for the rest of this year? Yeah, Pawn's probably right. We're probably going to see volatility. On the upside or the downside. I'm not sure. I like gold long term. Short term, I mean, silver and gold are wild. You know, so short term, gold and silver have been moving. And so, I mean, we'll see what happens to them. But they've been moving a lot. Again, you can see the NASDAQ right around the volume weighted average price here, rejecting a little bit off of it. Gold's still over that. And again, NVIDIA is another one I'm curious about. We have 5 minutes left for retail sales data. About 5 minutes. Small caps continue to lead the market. Yeah, the Russell. Here's the Russell. It's had a volatile year, though, to be honest. It's up to 2,700s. Opened the year at about 2,300s. Went all the way down to 1,700s in April from all the tariff stuff, and then started to rip back up. Swings, for sure, in the Russell. Again, the Dow, less tech-centered, but over 50K. It's been pushing up, breaking highs pretty regularly too. So you can see the Dow got up to 50 plus thousand, still sitting over 50s now. Red on the day today though for the Dow. All right, guys, we got 4 minutes. Got 9 borrowers considering U.S. investment grade bond sales today, according to Bloomberg, citing surveys. Right, here's gold. Gold back down under the VWAP 200 exponential. I'm watching big whole dollar numbers for this. So like 5K makes sense. 5,100 makes sense. We've seen some pullbacks in the NASDAQ today from mostly NVIDIA here, though. Again, NVIDIA. See NVIDIA in the NASDAQ. NVIDIA is so heavily weighted that the NASDAQ and NVIDIA are going to move with each other a lot of the time. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect correlation, but they're going to follow each other. All right, guys, 3.5 minutes here. 3.5 minutes. The weekly jobs numbers came out, anime. But we have retail sales data at 8:30 in 3 minutes. So retail sales data is releasing soon. That's probably going to have a bigger influence over markets, though, than the ADP data. Again, I'm not sure how much any of these is going to affect markets, but we do have an actual jobs report tomorrow from the government. We get the government jobs report, the monthly employment report tomorrow, 8:30. Non-farm payrolls and unemployment. We'll see what retail sales does. Again, we also have delayed import-export data here. So, yeah. What do we get? Yeah, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, chat. 2 minutes, really. No silver, $100 an ounce. All right, here we go. 2 minutes. Let's see what we get today. Here's a video on the left. I don't think we have any other data coming out today. We have business inventories at 10. Atlanta Fed GDP now Q4 data at 10 or at 11:30. I see China CPI expected. It's not the hugest. It's not the largest report in terms of affecting U.S. markets, so it might affect it a little bit. All right, 1.5 minutes. Nano silver, $100 an ounce. Nano gold, 1 ounce. All right, guys. What do you guys think we're going to get today? I asked people, do you think Michael Burry is correct about the current risk to markets? He said 57% say yes. Burry is correct out of 550 votes. Again, we'll see. Hugest? Yeah, I said it. I realized it wasn't a word, and then I, backtracked. Sometimes you just gotta, try it out, see if it works. You hear it, you're like, that doesn't work. We gotta go back. 50 seconds, chat. 50 seconds. All right, chat. 35 seconds. Again, 25 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed, and you'll be on time for the stream. Just make sure you're not delayed. Again, 20 seconds, guys. 20 seconds. Let's see what we get today for this data. Again, we get core retail sales, regular retail sales, dropping in about 5 seconds. Import-export data as well. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and here's the report right now. Okay, guys, retail sales 0% versus 0.4% expected. 0% retail sales versus 0.4% expected. Core retail sales were also 0% versus 0.3% expected. Again, 0% retail sales versus 0.4% expected. 0% retail sales versus 0.3% expected as well. And again, I'm still looking to see if we can get the import-export data. Again, it showed up at 0%. Versus 0.3 and 0.4% expected here. Import-export prices showed up as expected at 0.1%. The NASDAQ does not like this. We're seeing kind of a delayed reaction here. Again, the NASDAQ does not like it. We're seeing a delayed reaction. 0% retail sales versus 0.3 and 0.4% expected. I love you. Good day. Again, 0% retail sales versus 0.4%. Core retail sales also 0% versus 0.3 or 0.4% expected for core. So weaker than expected retail sales data. The NASDAQ does not like this data at all. It's now falling down. 25 threes on the NASDAQ. So you can kind of see that move here. But yeah, 0% retail sales for both core and headline retail sales data. Again, so not really good retail sales data. And the NASDAQ did initially react negatively here. Again, I'll put this data up on screen. But man, weaker than expected here, chat. Weaker than expected. Get 0% versus expected 0.3%. We'll see if the first move is the wrong move, though. We did react negatively to it. And now we're starting to creep back up a little bit. We're at 25,300s. But again, 0% retail sales for both core and headline. The weaker retail sales data for sure. Let's see if the market ends up going net down here. So let's let it get baked into the market some first. Again, here is the retail sales report. Advanced U.S. retail sales, food and services adjusted for seasonal variation and holidays, not for price, for $735 billion, virtually unchanged from the previous month and up 2.5% from December. So, yeah, 0% retail sales. What's Bitcoin doing on this report here? Let me see. Again, import-export data was flat. 0.1%, expected 0.1%. Exports 0.3 versus 0.1%, so a little bit higher exports than imports, which is probably seen as a positive thing if we're exporting more. Import price index was 0% as well versus 0.2% expected here. So, yeah, gold. The NASDAQ honestly reacting well to it. Maybe more easing. I'm wondering if yields are going to be falling on this from what's seen as weaker data ahead of the jobs data tomorrow. So yeah, yields are, look at yields go down from this report here. So yields are going down from this report. NASDAQ might want easing. And so Bitcoin, I'm assuming maybe Bitcoin's going up. Yeah, Bitcoin's going up on this report as well. Here's Bitcoin. And so again, I think they want easing, and Bitcoin wants easing for sure. And so markets are reacting well. Yields are down, showing a lower interest rate sentiment, maybe earlier cuts, and markets are now going up. Gold is up. NASDAQ is up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, yields are going to drop on weaker economics. So, again, markets are starting to push up, and we did get some volatility from this report. It's not nothing. You never know how markets are going to react to this stuff, but yeah, yields are going to fall. I mean, yields are going to go down from this report because it means weaker economic data, right? So 0% economic or retail sales is going to say, okay, you know, maybe we'll have to cut earlier. Bonds are going to get priced into that. Yields and interest rates follow each other. So if the markets are pricing in, even if it's just slightly higher chance of earlier cuts, then yields are going to go down and lower interest rate sentiment. Again, NASDAQ up, gold up, Bitcoin up on this report here. I think we hold here, but yeah, look at volume. Again, retail sales 0% month over month. Core retail sales also 0%. Love the rip, was down in the hole, now green. Hey, good job, dude. Yeah, NASDAQ hitting that 200 exponential. We'll see if it holds. Again, retail sales, cool. The 0% versus expected 0.3, 0.4% for both core and headline. So, and again, this is ahead of the jobs report tomorrow. The jobs report tomorrow really is the big main event this week, I would say. Bank of America CEO feels good about markets and IB markets, according to the Bank of America CEO. Bro, it is freaking cold in my house, dude. Again, retail sales flat, missing expectations. Expected to increase, and they showed up at 0. Non-store retailers were up 5.3%. Up 1.4% from last year, while food services, drinking places were up 4.7% from December of 2024. Dixie flushing. Yeah, I mean, stimulus. Dollar index falling down, now red on the day. So, Navarro says we need to revise expectations on monthly job numbers. But yeah, the dollar gets weakened when there's a higher likelihood of stimulus and rate cuts. So glad I cut my short. Well, it's still too early here. Yeah. Again, I think that this is a market that wants easing. And so I do think this is a market that wants easing. Again, Navarro says we need to revise expectations on monthly jobs. Big layoffs coming in March before the first quarter. How long until investors realize that lower retail sales affect margins and therefore EPS? Yeah. Now here's the problem with my household here. My wife, that's it, at 65 degrees right now. It's cold. Like, I get, you know, I get wanting to be cold while you're sleeping. Man. ISM and GDP. Hey guys, what's the best site to see news like this? I would say it's probably like, I don't know. You know, I think some places are better than others. I would say probably the best one is youtube.com/beginner trading. I think that's probably the best one, you know. Again, the NASDAQ at 25,340s here. I've heard of that one. Yeah, that one's great. Yeah, that one is great. You guys know. Y'all know. Right, my wife's 65 every night. Middle of winter, I could be in Antarctica. She'd set it to 65. Again, trade advisor Navarro says we need to revise expectations on monthly job numbers. Yeah, yields are down. Yields are down. Higher likelihood of stimulus with weaker retail sales data. Yields are down. Again, here's yields. They're falling right now. And again, a lot of people might want this. They might want yields to go down. They might want a higher likelihood of stimulus this year, earlier stimulus, I should probably say. I think we're going to do some stimulus this year, especially if the job trends continue. But again, FOMC rate odds currently at 18%. 18% likelihood of a rate cut in March. 82% likelihood of a pause still. So it's still a majority likely that we're not going to cut rates next month. But it's getting more likely at the very least. Wife is 65 years old? Oh man, she's younger than I am. We cannot afford economic stimulus. Inflation is too high. Inflation pushes us towards a recession, and that's what we are starting to see signs of. I don't get it. I mean, look, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think it's nuanced, and I think it's one of those situations where we kind of have risks to both sides right now. But, you know, one of the things you heard Jerome Powell say, and this is, again, something I've been saying for 6 months plus now, before even Jerome Powell said it, is that there generally needs to be a priority on the labor market after a certain point. So after a certain amount of weakness in the labor market, you have to prioritize that versus keeping them both the same weight, so to speak, right? So after a certain point, because if we don't, right, if we don't prioritize stimulating the labor market and trying to get us out of where we're heading, if the labor market continues to weaken, if we don't do that, then eventually we go into a recession, and then the Fed has to super ease and print to get us out of it, and that's going to cause more inflation regardless than maybe it would have if we just cut interest rates, right? Cutting interest rates does not do the most to spike inflation. What really does it, again, and this is something that people interpreted Warsh as being hawkish, because Warsh said similar things, which is that he's very critical of printing, of quantitative easing, money printing. That causes more inflation than a lot of things, much more than just basic 25 basis point rate cuts. And so again, at a certain point, you have to make the labor market the priority. even though 25 basis point cuts, I know people are going to come back and say, hey, that's not going to do the most to save the labor market as well. Sure, but it's something. And I think, again, you have to prioritize the labor market after a certain point. And again, this is something that Jerome Powell said in the last FOMC meeting a couple weeks ago. Said the same thing. He said after a certain point, jobs market becomes the priority, and you have to focus on it, because if not, we're going to have to super ease to get us out of recessions and stuff like that, and then it's going to just cause a lot more inflation than you might realize. Well, inflation's real life too. Again, from somebody that's self-employed, I don't want to see inflation spike. I don't like inflation. Inflation's a risk for sure. But a recession's a real risk as well, And again, inflation might get worse if we have to try to super print to get us out of a recession anyway. So, And again, this is after last week, right? Last week we did see bad job numbers. Last week, challenger job cuts, highest January level since 2009. High jobless claim numbers, high unemployment claims is what that is. How many people are filing for unemployment claims were high. We had, again, high unemployment claims, high job cut numbers. ADP's monthly report showed up on Wednesday last week. It showed up weaker than expected. I believe it showed up at 22,000 versus 40 something or 50 expected. So basically half of what was expected for jobs numbers. Quits were up. Hirings were low and quits were high. So, and that's not even including, this is just the recent data that we're seeing. That's not even including the last 6 months, 8 months that we've seen of continued weakness in the labor market. We saw some stabilization in it, November, October, even though, the question is whether that data is accurate from the shutdown. But, the last week we saw risks in the labor market. And again, this is heading into tomorrow's report, which is the biggest labor report that we get. It's the non-farm payroll unemployment report tomorrow. That's the biggest report we're getting. So we'll see what that shows up as. But even tomorrow's data is expected to actually uptick a little bit. So we'll see if this is what it shows up as. I'm showing private payrolls are expected at 70,000 tomorrow. Non-farm payrolls expected about 65K. Unemployment expected to stay the same at 4.4%. So we'll see what that looks like tomorrow. And then again, CPI inflation data will also give us another look at where inflation's at. It's expected to decrease as well, though. So. Employment cost report. So Navarro also says that the deportation of workers is influencing the jobs data. You guys agree with him here? He said, I am not expecting weak job numbers. We need to revise expectations on monthly job numbers. I'm not expecting weak numbers. What are you saying? More rate cuts would increase inflation while unemployment rate doesn't drop. Yeah, it might influence it a bit. It's not going to be as bad as, again, QE or something like that, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's nothing. Again, the dollar index down. Although Nasdaq's very flat here. Look at the Nasdaq over the last 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Oh, the last 15 minutes, Nasdaq just sideways, not moving at all. Although it's starting to creep up a little bit here, though. Here's the 200 EMA. We're right around the 200 exponential. Let's see if that holds. Bro, it is cold. Hold on. Turn the heater on, man. All right, Nasdaq's starting to wake up a little bit at 25,360s. That's what I think. I don't see the public announcements to expect bad job numbers. Yeah, I see the BP CEO says once we reach our debt production target, we can think about updating you on reintroducing buybacks. I feel like people talk about the extreme scenarios because that's more likely to catch opinions. Yeah, you know how it goes, man. I'm not a Texan, bro. I'm a Louisianian. I might be less. I might be more sensitive to cold than Texas. All right, NASDAQ's starting to go up a little bit still from this report. So again, I think NASDAQ has liked this report, the retail sales report. Again, here's NVIDIA. Here's gold. Gold going up. Silver almost green on the day for gold. Silver still got a little ways to go though. NASDAQ just went green on the day. And again, you can see the previous closing prices right here. So this is the previous close right here. You're a Texan at this point? Claim it? Nah. Never. I like Texas though. I really do. I like Texas. But do I want to live in Louisiana? No. You know? I'd live in some parts of Louisiana. But my kids have grown up here. I wouldn't take them away from their home. Not unless they really wanted to. But would I live in Baton Rouge, which is my hometown? No. No, I will not. I lived there my whole life. I don't want to go there again. I want to go there. I don't want to live there. All right, guys. NASDAQ rejected that previous closing price. Did you get a 5-gallon hat when you moved here? No. I've been thinking about getting some boots, though. I don't like the pointy ones, though. The pointy ones are too much. I just can't deal with the pointy ones. Yeah, maybe some, like, flat-toe cowboy boots. You know, I'd wear some of them. All right, guys. So, U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Whitaker, says anything that allows our allies to step up and do more and take leadership in the alliance is a good news story. Again, this is the import-export balance data. Import-export balance is basically, I mean, we're the United States, right? So we import a lot more than we export. We're not really known as a big manufacturing hub anymore, and we're mostly importing other. We're mostly importing. We're mostly importing other countries' goods, but we're starting to see that change a little bit. Again, here is the December data, 0% for import-export price index for December 2025. So, yeah, go Tigers. That's right, go Tigers. I'll never root against LSU. Baseball just started. That's Bruce right there. Bruce just barks. He's a barker. I can't get him to stop. Bitcoin got back up to almost 69,000 this morning here. Look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin trying to get back up there. Not really holding, but it's trying. Tap 69,000. Now it's back to 68.8s, high 68s. We'll see if this continues into the open. All right, guys. But again, retail sales data out already. Tomorrow's report, again, the biggest report. Probably of the week. Yeah, I'm going to trade a little bit, guys. Don't worry. I am going to trade today. Traded some stocks yesterday. That went pretty well. Let's see if today's... Anything that's really red on the day? Any stocks? I know, what did I buy the other day? Coca-Cola's red. Out of 75s. Maybe I'll add more. It means the rate at which, it means the retail sales numbers didn't increase in a percentage basis month over month. Upwork? Yeah, I mean, look. I normally like buying up. What's the symbol for Upwork? It's UPWK. I would normally like buying up big pullbacks here. The problem with Upwork, though, is that Upwork, I've done stuff on Upwork, right? I've paid people on Upwork and done all this other stuff. The problem is that these are the type of jobs that AI is going to obviously replace a percentage of, right? Like they're going to lose market share to AI. Absolutely. Why? Because you don't really need to hire a percentage of the people that you used to need prior to AI being a thing. And so now with Upwork, which is mostly like gigs, jobs, you can hire programmers and writers. Those are some of the works that are going to be highly replaced by AI, writing especially, but not just that, programmers as well. And so a lot of the stuff that people use Upwork for is simply going to get replaced, at least to a certain percentage, by AI. And I think this is really self-evident. I think this is really obvious. I think there's a lot of people that maybe do work like that, software developers, programmers that don't want to believe it's true. And so I think confirmation bias kind of ticks in and they start saying, no, AI is not going to replace our jobs, because I think that's what they want to be the truth. But I think when you look at it objectively, I think obviously AI is going to replace at least a small percentage of, you know, the people on Upwork. And I think that's really clear. And so Upwork is the overarching point I'm trying to make is I don't want to buy Upwork here. I don't like Upwork because of that dynamic here. I think even them versus a lot of other software companies, they're more susceptible to some of this job replacement from AI. And so Friday is CPI. Yeah, I mean, CPI is obviously important. I think the labor data might be more important though, but it depends on, honestly, which is more important versus with payrolls versus inflation is going to depend on what the numbers actually show up as. Like what's going to influence the market more is going to be a big beat or a big miss on either of those things. Like if jobs show up as expected, we'll probably still get a reaction, but it might not be a big reaction. If inflation data shows up wildly over expected, that's when we're going to see some reactions here. And so it's all relative to what the results actually are. So AI replaced my coding job 2 years ago after 25 years as a full stack developer. That's why I trade now. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Still going to give my daily disagreement as someone that actively monitors the throughput and productivity gains in the software industry from AI. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Look, I could certainly be wrong. But I think it's hard for me to look at a company like Upwork and imagine that some of their jobs are not going to get replaced by AI. You know why? It's because if I had to do a software job and it was a language or whatever that I didn't know and I needed it fast, the question is, would I hire somebody on Upwork to do it? Or would I just tell AI to walk me through the steps and program it for me and then walk me through the steps and then maybe pay a developer to like look over it, but not necessarily build it, you know? And so I think when you think about that dynamic, I think it's obviously true. Maybe I'm wrong though. I don't know. NASDAQ technically green on the day. Am I going to pay somebody $5,000 to build me an application, or am I going to have AI walk me through the steps in a language I don't know quickly? Probably be done faster than the person too. Now you could also there's another argument here though. The other argument is like, okay, well, the developers now are going to be able to do more jobs because they're going to be using AI to do some of it as well. And so, you know, maybe that will counter some of the losses that we see from AI. And that's true. But I think the net effect is still going to be down. I think the net effect is still going to be less people interested in using Upwork. You know. Probably Treff, you know. I have a friend who worked as a graphic designer for the music industry. Guess what? AI came along and they lost their jobs. 100%. Yeah. Again, graphic designers, writers, and programmers are going to be the biggest ones that lose jobs from this. And I think it's pretty obvious. Again, Meta subsidiary is losing an appeal against Deutsche Telekom over network services. German court ruled that Meta subsidiary Edge Network Services must pay Deutsche Telekom about 30 million euros that the German telecoms firm claims it owed for providing network services used by the US company's platforms. You need a software engineer, just not 10 anymore. But when there are bugs and you have to maintain it, how do you run a company and maintain your software at the same time? I mean, you might still need people here. It's not like you're not going to need experts. You're going to need them less, you know. You're going to need them less. Probably. It still isn't that good. Yeah, that's probably true. But it'll get there. And some of them are getting pretty good. No, it's not all of them. All AI systems are not just brilliant programmers. Some are better than others. But they're going to get there. Again, think about what AI has done over 4 years. The improvements it made. Again, 4 or 5 years ago, Will Smith eating spaghetti looked ridiculous. Now it's very difficult to see that it's AI. You can still see, but it's much more difficult. And then when you extrapolate that pattern over the next 20 or 30 years, AI is going to get there. AI is going to get there. It's going to raise the standards for everybody too, you know. John sticking up for his robot brothers. Try to say thank you to AI, so if they ever take over the world in a Terminator-like scenario, they'll be like, you know what? John was nice to me. You know? Let's not take him out. Let's just, you know, he said thank you when he asked me questions. So we'll leave him. You heard AI music? I have heard AI music. The Scissors song. You're probably talking about the Scissors song. Like, I am paper. He was scissors or something. I can't remember the song. It wasn't a bad song, though, that AI created. It was almost scary because the song wasn't bad. If you don't believe me, listen to the song, right? Go listen to the song. I can't remember the name of the fake AI, you know, person from it. But, I have heard the song. The song is, honestly, it's not bad. And then you have to question where music is going to. And I love music, but that's the scary thing right now. Yeah, Sadie Winters walking away. How hard is the retail sales data going to hit the market? It already did. NASDAQ reacting positively to this. So did gold. More easing potential. Yields are down from the data here. Here's yields. So again, yields have fallen on this report. Again, you can kind of see yields net down from slower retail sales, which makes sense. Yields and interest rates follow each other. Question for you is, if LLM models are already unprofitable and gains are limited currently, what happens when they raise prices? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could happen. But again, I think eventually monetization will find it just through data alone. I think they're going to profit off of data, just like search engines. And that's obviously what's going to happen, I think. I think they already are. Probably. Again, Paramount is enhancing their superior $30 share all-cash offer for Warner Bros. The Wells Fargo CEO says they expect new products in wealth management as well. Again, in 10 days, we're supposed to get a potential tariff decision as well. So, 10 days, we're supposed to get a potential tariff decision. Larry Fink of BlackRock said interest on the U.S. debt is ultimately what predicted to destroy the U.S. economy. That debt payments will eventually grow out of control and the dollar will be abandoned because it essentially turns into monopoly money. A fair amount of folks believe the U.S. debt is already out of control, which is why they're swapping to actual long-term assets like metals, nuclear, or refinement, according to Larry Fink at BlackRock. Tom's Hardware thinks OpenAI could also reportedly run out of cash by mid-2027. JP Morgan also cut Coinbase's price target to $290 from $399. Yeah. February 20th, I think, is the next potential date that we get an opinion on the Supreme Court ruling. It might not actually happen because they don't tell you which cases are in each batch. But the next potential date is February 20th. You don't see them being commoditized like they are now with open source? I mean, maybe, but I think they're going to diversify the ways they monetize from it. Just like they do with everything else, right? They're going to diversify. Try to cancel Paramount. They gave me 50% off to stay. I'm not going to cancel Paramount right now because they have UFCs. I'm keeping Paramount. Also, or no, that's not Paramount. I was going to say I like Night of the Seven Kingdoms. But I think that's HBO. But it was good. I didn't like it when it first started. Now I'm into it. Nasdaq creeping up though. Gold's pretty flat. The day overall. Adobe asked me 5 times, are you sure we'll pay to keep you? Yeah, I need to use that more. Alright, Bitcoin finding some resistance at 69,000 here. Our job generally doesn't rehire folks when they leave, just fills the gap with AI. No panic, remain bullish. Yeah, I mean, we have an upward trend in the NASDAQ, but it's pretty small. Like, look at the range here on this upside. Kind of tight. On the NASDAQ. I'm waiting for the opening bell. We got 25 minutes until the open, but... yeah, SMDK, man. The swings in this thing are crazy. Memory's expensive right now, but it's been putting on some weird swings. Again, Paramount Skydance, again, enhancing their $30 a share all-cash offer for Warner Bros. To add $25 or 25 cents a share ticking fee payable to shareholders for each quarter its transaction is not closed beyond December 31st, 2026. All right, so the House Republican leaders are on the brink of losing a rule vote today over language blocking tariff votes. If the Republicans Rule attempts fail. The House Democrats are preparing for a flood of votes on Canada, Brazil, and Mexico tariffs, according to Punchbowl. We also had the Red Book data come out. 6.5%. Previously was 6.7% for the Red Book. Spotify CEO says churn is low and has been in line with expectations after the company announced price increases in January. Yeah, Nvidia's been moving a lot this morning. It went up a lot and then it pulled back a little bit, and now it's back up some. You can see the Nasdaq is very similar to Nvidia here, to be honest, in terms of price action. And here's the NQ on the right. Here's Nvidia on the left. You can see how much, again, Nvidia, the most heavily weighted stock in the Nasdaq, and so it's going to have an influence. You can see big run up earlier, pull back, rebound, big run up, pull back, rebound. Similar price movements here, to be honest. So I'm going to be watching Nvidia and the Nasdaq at the open. We'll see what we get. Dude, some of these thumbnail creators are getting pretty freaking good. Internet. Bitcoin chart looks like it's flipping on the finger. It's head and shoulders, I would say. Kind of. Assuming you're talking about this right here. Again, Williams Companies expects U.S. natural gas demand to rise by about 39 BCF per day over the next 10 years. Yeah, yields are falling after weak retail sales data, is what this is. Nvidia's still popping, though, at 191.60s. Yeah, Nvidia earnings on the 25th will be interesting. Yeah, join our Discord if you haven't already. It's completely free, doesn't cost anything. Also, give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades. I want to see if the Discord link works, so I feel like maybe that link doesn't work. The president is predicting a 15% economic surge under Fed nominee Warsh. That if our new head of the Fed, who I think is going to be great and he's really high quality person, but if he does the job that he's capable, we can grow at 15%. I think more than that. This was yesterday, but Bitcoin back over 69s. 69.1 right now for Bitcoin. Williams expects, again, natural gas demand to rise. If we get a pullback to the 200 exponential, I'll probably buy this on the NQ here. We have 20 minutes left until the open. If we get a pullback to there, I'll probably buy it. Nvidia earnings, incredible results. Stock drops by 20%. Yeah, I mean, that's possible in this earnings season, too. Again, a lot of companies beat EPS, beat revenue, and raise guidance and drop 10%. this earnings season. It's been a little while. The expectation for microchips and AI are crazy right now. They're just unreasonable. But maybe with all that circular financing, people are looking for more, and I think that's reasonable, I guess. Kalshi says Super Bowl trading volume surpassed $1 billion. Paramount Skydance says revised proposal reflects a total equity value of $78 billion and enterprise value of $108 billion. I think they're going with Netflix, though. I don't think... Again, I just don't think they're going to go with Paramount. Speaking of Netflix, Netflix is pretty green on the day, too. Look at Datadog. Datadog and some other software companies are green. Datadog, Spotify. Datadog over 130. Spotify at 466 right now. So we're seeing some software rebounds here, to be honest. Yeah, but Datadog's just up so much. We are in the wake of a pullback here, though, at 130s. Oracle popping. I'm in Oracle right now. You know, hit 160s earlier in the day. I'm actually green in my stocks on the day, too. We'll try to day trade them. So we did this yesterday. Or want to see a software rebound? Check out app. Yeah, I mean, it's some. It was at $700, though, in December. It's at 470s now. So percentage-wise, it's still down a pretty big margin. Yeah, that's a big upside. Yeah, Paramount, speaking of all this stuff. That's a bad chart. Terrible chart. They were at 150s in 2012. Time to buy Paramount, though. I mean, I don't think they're going to win the Warner Bros. Deal. But you might be able to argue some value. Still a struggler, though, here, if you look at this. Here's their margins, PSKY. Nasdaq's still creeping up, though. They've struggled to find profitability here. Maybe the UFC deal will help them. AMD, Nvidia, creeping higher. Nasdaq back up to 25.4s. All right, guys, we got 14 minutes left. Are you bullish or bearish? I'm going to do another poll right now. We asked people, is Michael Burry correct? Almost 60% of people say yes out of almost 900 votes. Are you bullish or bearish for today's open? See what we get here. Nasdaq has gone green on the day, but it's very flat, very sideways. You think Paramount's gonna win it? Or win it? I think Netflix has more sway over stuff like that. Again, we'll see. I'm not bullish nor bearish. I'm candle by candle. probably the right move. 13 minutes. NASDAQ, man, still on its little upward move here. Kind of a wild swing market, though. I am down in my day trading in futures today, though. So I am red day trading. I'm down like $100. We'll see if market holds now, though. 12 minutes. Look at NVIDIA popping up too. Almost a 192. See, I'm curious to see when NVIDIA is going to make a run towards 200. Maybe it's today. Bitcoin pop, Oracle app diff. Time to buy crypto? Maybe. Is it? Is it time to buy Bitcoin? I think I did a poll on this earlier. I think most people said yes. But, and look, rate cut odds actually did go up a little bit here. We're at 20% likely of a cut in March so far. 20% likely of a cut in March right now. Again, so retail sales is out. 0%. Odds of rate cuts increased. Tomorrow we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment data. NVIDIA still popping up, almost a 192s. NASDAQ following it. Again, we are seeing some software companies start to bounce back this morning, specifically Spotify, Datadog, and more. But maybe we'll get some more volatility at the open here. Again, I did the poll here. We got over 100 votes already. 70-30 bulls on the upside today. 70-30 bulls. I like this channel. Some value being delivered. We try. We try. What I think about take two? Software slump starting to rebound back up the last 48 hours in markets. Same thing. Watching it in the same way. I think its long-term chart's better than a lot of others. I'm not saying you should buy it, but better than a lot of others. Again, China's foreign minister says that he sees India as a partner rather than a competitor. Both countries are going to enhance mutual trust and expand cooperation, apparently. This two sides should enhance mutual trust, expand cooperation, properly handle differences. They should see each other as opportunities, not threats regarding China and India. Two sides had friendly, in-depth exchange of view. Held strategic dialogue with India diplomat, according to a ministry statement in China. Also, the European Union apparently is proposing banning all crypto transactions with Russia to prevent sanctions evasions. All right, guys, 8 minutes here. You also never shout. I shout. You know, it's funny, like, you can't please everybody on the internet. People are just weird sometimes, right? But when I do shout, some people get mad at me for shouting, and then when I talk quietly, some people get mad because it's boring, you know? So, like, you never really please everybody, you learn. But I appreciate it. We try. Top 3 value channels, definitely top 3. 48 wouldn't surprise me. It went way below 200 WMA last bear, and TradeFi doesn't have a stomach. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna get. I think which direction we're heading at the opening bell today is not really set in stone. I think things can go either way here. I think market was red for a little while today, back to green. I think gold and silver are still pretty red on the day, but actually gold's green now. So gold up to almost 5,100, silver bouncing back as well. But we're kind of split. Like if you look at most Mag 7 stocks leading into the opening bell today, Microsoft green up to 418s, making moves up. Meta red slightly. Alphabet red. Apple red. Nvidia green. AMD and not Mag 7 but green. Netflix is green. Amazon green. So we're kind of split here with big tech right now. So big tech, some are red, some are green. Heading into the opening bell. The NASDAQ is slightly green because it's more weighted towards NVIDIA and microchips, and NVIDIA is green. But it's not a crazy amount. It's not a crazy amount. So. Are you saying I look like Sam Darnold? I mean, guess I could kind of see it. I mean, Strategy says even as Bitcoin fell 24% in the last month, STRC returned nearly 100 and paid an 11% annualized dividend in cash. Strategy actually went up from its earnings, didn't it? Yeah, earnings came out down here. So let's see if Bitcoin continues to hold. All he did was push STRC. Well, you're going to focus on what's doing well. It's kind of like any U.S. president, what they're going to do. I've said this before. Any U.S. president, their playbook is very simple. It doesn't matter which side you're on. Like, you might act like it's one side only that does this. It's not. It's both sides. Whichever side that is doing well, that's what you bring attention to. If the economy's super strong, but inflation is spiking, you're not even going to talk about inflation. You're going to say, look how strong the economy is right now. GDP is growing by X amount. Jobs are doing this. If it's the opposite, if the economy's fallen off a cliff, but inflation's declining, which it generally does when the economy's fallen off a cliff, you're not even going to talk about the economy. You're going to say, hey, we're bringing inflation down. Look at us. We're doing great work in bringing inflation down. Look at how great we are. Right? And again, I can't really blame anybody for being this way. On both sides, both the last two presidents did this. Again, economy's struggling. Look at what we're doing to inflation. Labor market struggling, or labor market is thriving, but inflation spiking. Look at what we're doing to labor market. Look what we're doing to GDP. Kind of the same thing Michael Saylor's doing with, to go back to kind of bring it back. That's what Michael Saylor's doing with MicroStrategy right now. Our price might be failing, Bitcoin might be struggling, but look at all this other stuff we're doing, And again, you can't really knock him for it, guys. You can't really knock him. I'd probably do the same thing if I was him. Again, market opens up in 3 minutes. Dude, I do not look like the freaking Maze Runner, bro. This you're just wrong. The economic model provides us with the opportunity to do it. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, guys, here we go. Let's see if we can make some money today. I'll probably day trade stocks and futures, to be honest. Again, I'm pretty green, though, on the day. Netflix is helping me out. Oracle's helping me out as well in stocks. One minute. Let me change this music. Cut it. All right, guys. Again, retail sales weak, 0%. Payrolls tomorrow. Again, my thumbnail creator is going to be upset. Because I don't really need it. AI just made this for me right here. Look. So. Getting pretty good. Pretty good. What do you see the balance sheet ending on Warsh's term? I think we might have a hawkish balance sheet with Warsh, to be honest. You never know. But I think balance sheet might be a little bit more hawkish with Warsh. Warsh is critical of quantitative easing and printing, so I think he might lower rates like the president wants him to, but I don't know what he's going to do to the balance sheet in that context. I just don't know. I think he might be a little bit more restrictive in the balance sheet and less. I think he might be loose with rate cuts, but restrictive with balance sheet stuff. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Let's see what we get. All right, guys, there's the opening bell. NASDAQ fell down a little bit ahead of the opening bell. We're tapping the previous closing price. NVIDIA just broke highs of the day here just now. So NVIDIA just tapped highs, got up to 192.40s, and then retraced back down pretty significantly. But the NASDAQ still bouncing higher here. So again, the NASDAQ still bouncing higher. Let's see if the market holds right now. All right, NVIDIA, again, still pushing here. NASDAQ going. It's still too early for me to trade. I really need to let like 1 or 2 minutes pass before I day trade. All right, now we're coming back down a little bit. NVIDIA kind of gave back this whole push. It wasn't a huge move, though, but still early. There we go. I'm starting to head back up. Again, Apple kind of retraced after moving up a little bit at the opening bell. SanDisk is as well. So did NVIDIA here. Look at these swings at the open, though. These are kind of big retracements back and forth. I'm actually pretty green on the day, specifically on Netflix. Netflix back up some here. Music stop. Alphabet and Tesla. Tesla got up to 420, so SanDisk, guys. Look at SanDisk here. NVIDIA's starting to creep up there. Just broke highs again. Got up to 50. SanDisk falling still. Look at the NASDAQ, how flat it is. Again, we've kind of had a choppy open. Robinhood just went green on the day. Earnings today. Again, Tesla up to 420s. Nvidia broke highs again and then got pumped all the way back down to 191s here. I don't know what to do with any of this here, though. Tesla is ripping, though. So is Robinhood. Robinhood's up at the open. Get Netflix, Home Depot. I'm very green on the day again. Here goes Nvidia turning, though. Look at this. See what Nvidia does here. Nvidia's looking kind of weak. Nvidia's starting to fall here. Nvidia's starting to get weak at the open here, chat. There we go. I am in a trade here. We're up about 100. I'll let this sit here, though. See if we bounce some more. Look at that. All right, we're going to take some more off. Cover the rest close to break even. Kind of whippy, though, so we're trying to get our gains and ride out here to be. Bounce right at the VWAP for the NASDAQ. Cut it right there. We are green. We're up about 200 on the day if you look at this. So 177s. Good. See what else we get. Off the bounce. I might buy Nvidia right here too. 30 shares. 45. 60. I should probably ramp this up a little bit. Really get a chance. It's a nice bounce, but it's such a small trade. I wanted more. I just didn't. I'm used to futures, so I gotta get reasonable with some of the sizes here. But there's a bounce. I would have made a lot more, but I'll just take the game. We got the bounce we wanted. I wanted a reversion back to the middle range here at 191.50. With Netflix being up so much, I might just take a little bit off here to protect. Yeah. Just. NASDAQ range is very flat. I might wait for this range to break. Here's the VWAP. We break underneath this on the NASDAQ, especially with continued Nvidia selling pressure. Maybe we'll take some more trades there. There's Nvidia continued pressure, and there's the NASDAQ breaking down. Let me see if I want to short. Excuse me. Yeah, there's the drop that we wanted, though. But man, it happened kind of quickly here under the VWAP. A little retracement back up will short that if we can. But it needs to be decent. Jumped in one. Oh. It's so quickly, I gotta get out fast. 202 now. I wanted the break, but it just happened too quickly, to be honest. Yeah, it's toss, Reggie. Toss. All right, here's the previous close on Nvidia at 190s. We're talking a bounce level here. I might try this. 8 larger size, I forgot. Here, hold on. I think I might try to bounce back over this, though. We'll give it a second. There's 70, 95, 20. Here we go. Half off. Try to let the rest roll, but it looks like it's kind of turning over. Okay, that's better. Here's the bounce. All little scalps here, but good nonetheless. Not many red trades since the opening bell. I don't know if I've had any, to be honest. SanDisk still breaking down though. How you guys doing since the bell? Yeah, that previous closing price on Nvidia, I was thinking it might cause a bounce. Got a small one so far. You can see the NASDAQ rebounding into it though. Not good. Flat. Green. Green. Bought the dip. SNDK's bad. Red. Up. Hey, well, y'all be safe. Again, not an investment professional, guys. Obviously, not liable if you lose money. Make your own, stuff. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose. All green. Not volatile enough to swing trade yet. Greenish. Greenish is good. All right, guys. NASDAQ just broke back down. Nvidia just cracked 190. It's now technically red on the day now. All right, guys, so we're still testing these lows of the day on the NASDAQ here. Just tapped them, got back up here, though, but we're heading back down under 25,300s, which, again, is the low of the day. So the NASDAQ just cracked the lows of the day here. NVIDIA's breaking down under that previous closing price level here. All right, we have this level here at 260s. I might try to buy this on the NQ. See, right there. Buy it right here. See if we hold. Start small. Maybe add to it if it goes green. Go. You guys can't. All right. All right, we're out. We scalped it. Again, 250 up on the day roughly. Was attacking this level right here. I don't know why I have it on my chart, but we have it on our chart, and that seemed to work fairly well. See if it continues to work. Yeah, look at that level. Best level ever right there. Look at that bounce, man. Exactly at that level. Should have held, but that's all right. We made our money. Stay still. Still bouncing at that level too, man. Maybe I should have held. Hold it on gold futures. Gold gave some of it back. Gold's honestly roughly flat on the day, though. The washing moves are too erratic. Yeah, I get it. I feel you. Look at gold still falling down though here. All right, guys. So yeah, we got NFP tomorrow, man. Again, I'm looking at other stuff. I don't know what to do here. I could short. I don't know if I want to continue with them. We'll see. Bull or bear right now? I see 58% still bullish for the open. The open hasn't been that friendly to bulls. Look at NVIDIA, guys, still breaking down here. And I think this is what's driving the NASDAQ price action, to be honest. Is this the true reaction to retail sales? $19.29 face rip? Yeah, man, listen. Because if there's anything this big drop looks like, it's $19.29, man. You know, looks exactly like it. You know, I thought it was $19.29, actually. You know, and then I remembered. Treasury Secretary Bessent says, anytime there's a boom in productivity, there's a boom in employment. Again, guys, hey, we got a big jobs report tomorrow. Yesterday's NVIDIA run was euphoric. Today we retraced. Yeah, I think I see that some. It's what's driving the NASDAQ down, too. NASDAQ now green on the day. Was pretty green all morning. Things have kind of turned a little bit, though. You know what's green on the day is PayPal. Remember me buying PayPal? You love to see it. Love to see it. Passive aggressive? I mean, sarcastic maybe. SanDisk at 565, or 555. SanDisk is giving a lot back too. Yeah, man, this thing has made some crazy swings. Again, if you've tried to buy RAM lately, you might understand why they hit 700s. Because RAM's so expensive right now, but didn't hold it all. Back down to 550s right here. AI isn't replacing blue-collar jobs. Bad news just hit it. AI? Yeah, I mean, it's not good for AI, or it's not good for jobs. But again, I'm sitting tight. I'm waiting for. I mean, honestly though, I'm so green on the day. I almost don't want to push anymore. We're up about 250 in futures. We're up a couple hundred in stocks. That's a good day. I don't know if I want to give it back right now. I'm probably going to just cut out of here early today, guys. Again, we don't have any 10 o'clock data. And I'll probably just stick around for tomorrow's job report. So, again, whatever. I had this yellow level on my chart. I don't know what it's for, but I believed in it, and it worked. This yellow line on my chart, again, I have no idea where I drew that on the NASDAQ. No idea what it was. But it worked. Whatever that yellow whatever that yellow line is on the chart. I find random lines on every chart I get into, but I believe here, guys. There's probably some previous high, realistically, or something like that. But you love to see it. You love to see it. That yellow line helped me today. Top 3 best line ever, right there. And yeah, who knows where it came from? Who knows where it's going? But cheers to that yellow line today. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Tomorrow, non-farm payrolls, unemployment. Be ready. This yellow line will soon be replaced by AI, guys. Again, non-farm payrolls, unemployment. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, 8:30 tomorrow is massive. Retail sales were kind of big today. 8:30 tomorrow is big. All right. We're going to move at 8:30 tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Y'all be safe. Be careful. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Is it 10 o'clock tomorrow? Hold on, let me check this. I thought it was at 8:30. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Hold on. Somebody saying it's at 10. I gotta make sure. I'm pretty sure it's at 8:30. Yeah, it's at 8:30 tomorrow. 8:30. is the jobs data. Okay. We don't have any jobs data at 10 o'clock today. We have business inventory. Whether you want to consider that jobs, I mean, not really. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great